Okay, so I had a few people request that what brought me to Islam, and I'm gonna have to do multiple videos to explain this because it's a really long story. So I grew up military. I was a daughter of a person who served in the military, in the United States military, and I heard things and experienced things that just really raised questions inside of my own household, like what is ISIS? What is this whole Operation Iraqi Freedom? Like, I didn't understand any of that because I was only 13 at the time. And in that time, you know, that's a very big time for a child's life, and we start to question everything around us. So I questioned it, and I wanted to learn about Islam, and I wanted to learn about, you know, what is this stuff going on over here in the Middle East, and why is my dad having to go do these things that I just didn't get. It didn't make any sense. Some of it still doesn't make sense, but that's a political issue, never mind. Alright, so I'm 13 years old at the time, and I'm starting to question authority and understand and learn. This part is kind of politically related, but I started to learn a little bit of Arabic then, just a little bit, and it was enough for me to recognize that the stuff that a news was producing at the time was blatantly lying to the general public of the American people. I could understand what the news lines were reading at the bottom of the screen. It had something to do with donations in Ramadan. I don't know anything else. I don't remember anything else from it. But our news station was like, oh, this guy's calling for terroristic arms and we're all gonna die. Like, oh my God. Like, I knew right then and there that there was something up with this, and I needed more to understand what is Islam and what is going on with it. I was extra curious now. Alright, so after a couple of years of trying to research and understand more about Islam, I become acquainted with a few people from Lebanon, and they're the main people who influenced me to be encouraged or more inclined to Islam. These people were kind, they were encouraging, they never said anything malicious towards me because they understood that I was out here trying to understand something and not just be vile about it. And through them, they taught me a little bit of Arabic, they taught me a little bit of Muslim culture, they helped me understand the difference between Islam and regional culture. I don't know how to explain it. There's religious culture and regional culture. You know, Lebanese culture is different from Islam. It's not the same thing. I understand completely. They explained these things to me. They taught me these things. Okay, so through these friends, and over several years, you know, I asked them questions. Oh, you know, what is this? What is that? What is, you know, what is tafsirs? What is Sahih Bukhari? I didn't understand at the time when they explained it, the difference between Sunni and Shia, and understanding how everything is divided up, and you have Salafi, Maliki, Hanbali, and Sanafi, and Sufism, and all of these other things that kind of just branch off, or schisms of Islam. And I didn't understand that, but I did understand the differences. So they did explain to me a lot of the questions that I had as an American at that time. Then you fast forward to, I think I was 16 years old, and my mom finally cracked down and allowed me to purchase a Quran. Once I received my first Quran, the guy who sold it, he was so happy to sell me this book. He was, I don't know how, I can remember how happy he was, and it was adorable, and I was very thankful to have this book. And I went home, and as a Christian, I still washed my hands before I ever touched the Bible, so I did the same for the Quran. I gave the Quran the exact same respect as it is God's word, as I would give to the Bible or the Torah, and I treated it with the utmost respect. And I opened it and I started reading with pure curiosity. There wasn't, let me learn this knowledge. It was just, let me learn. What is this? What is up? Well, what's here? And I was very excited to just dive in and read it. And as I started reading, it was like a letter. So pardon me, this part always gets me a little emotional. Reading the Quran for me is like getting a special letter from God. Like, it's so beautiful to know how much he protects us and how much he loves us. And I'm sorry, I cry every time I tell this part. It's just amazing, and it's beautiful how, you know, you have a chance in Islam. You're not damned to hell. You might make mistakes, but you know what? God's sitting here like, hey, make your prayers so I can forgive you. I just want to forgive you. I just want you to come home. And it's just like, wow, he loves us so much. Like, he gives us so much opportunity to be forgiven and learn our lessons that he has sent us here to specifically learn. Alright, so I'm 16 years old. I have now a Torah, a Quran, and a few different Bibles. And I say different Bibles because the Catholic Bible is not the same type of Bible as the Protestant Bible. My family was raised Lutheran, and that is a Protestant denomination of Christianity. And Orthodox Catholicism is also a different denomination of Christianity, and Lutheranism directly denounced Catholicism in that aspect. Totally different topic. So I definitely made sure that I studied up on my religions, and I wanted to make a wise and educated decision. So by the time I was about 20 years old, I was living the very typical American dream life, just so typical. And I definitely took, you could say, like a break from, and with my religious break, if you will, I took a kind of a hiatus from religion for a few years. Now, during high school, from middle school through high school, I was devoted Christian. I went to Sunday school every day. I was at the church every day. I did studies. I did, you know, my prayers, everything. And I was really devoted in Christianity at the time. I went to college, and I went through an extremely huge shock of reality. I got hit in the face. So I decided to take a while to kind of step back and look and just like watch everything, because I didn't understand how people couldn't believe in God, or that they thought that atheists. I could not wrap my mind about it. But I'm open-minded, and I kept the curiosity, and I explored with a grain of salt. I took the time to. Alright, so I'm going to cover like 10 years of life in just 1 minute. During these 10 years, I experienced some life things that I really would not wish anybody to go through, but I know millions and billions of people go through and suffer through these things. And I am so sad that these things happen in our world in general. They are traumatizing things. They are not easy things. Some of these things could have been prevented had I known better. A lot of things I wish didn't happen happened. They happened. I have to agree and accept that the fact that these things happened, and I am absolutely torn about what happened. So fast forward 10 years to 3 years ago. I was in a very bad situation. I don't want to post my personal business, okay? Okay, so I've recorded this video like a million times. I started reading Quran again. I started to get back into religious things. I started questioning all over again. And finally, in this past year, I went on a date with a Muslim man who was like, why don't we just take you to a masjid and get these answers for you? And literally, he called me and was on his way and coming to pick me up and take me to the masjid. And I was like, yeah, okay. I was scared. Of course I was scared. I did not know that you could just like walk over to a masjid and be like, hey guys. And they were like, oh, hey, what is up? Are you feeling like converting today? It was cute. It was kind of like that. Not really, but it was kind of like that. Very essential. After 4 hours, I did end up taking my shahada, and so finally, this past January, I decided to take my shahada in front of the imam. No, I did not have it recorded. I felt like that was very personal. I also don't like to pray in front of people. I know that's a thing that I know I gotta get over. I do go to Juma prayer to help myself, but it's definitely easier when you are praying around other people who understand what you are doing, instead of like, oh, look at that girl, she's like, what is she doing? But I didn't feel that was appropriate to have recorded. So if you want proof, bye. Goodbye. Just go. Other than that, since converting to Islam, I have only been thankful for converting to Islam. And I actually really like wearing hijab. And, you know, it's not the most modest, but we're starting. Okay, so this is why I decided to wear hijab. Not really sure how I want to describe this. It's kind of a lengthy thing. Last year, I was dressing modest and immodestly, and through doing that, I came to an understanding that all walks of life have their own perception of what I look like in their own eyes, regardless of how I dressed. You know, if I look like a bum, then they thought I was a bum. If I dressed really nice, then I was just nice. It was just really interesting to come to that conclusion. Finally, February 1st of this year, I decided to put hijab on for World Hijab Day. And I did it with the intentions of humbling myself and coming to a grander understanding. You know, I'd only converted to Islam for like a whole month at the point. And I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, even though on my first day of wearing hijab, I had a lot of shocking realizations and in regards to Islamophobia and racism. And it was mind-blowing. But at the same time, I really liked it. And I there was like 2 or 3 days that I just didn't wear hijab, but I figured out where I can find a few very, very, very cheap. They were like $2. So I got them, and a couple other people in the area were very supportive of me wearing hijab, and I didn't expect that. Those people who supported me when I put hijab on, and they were like, oh, congratulations, you look so beautiful. You people do not realize how important and valuable those comments are when you put on a hijab. And that first day of wearing hijab really changed my life. I love how it feels. I feel so much more safer wearing it. No, it's not going to stop certain things from happening. Men are men. But I definitely really enjoy wearing hijab, and I'm very thankful for the opportunity that World Hijab Day presented for me, because thanks to that holiday, if you will, I wear hijab and I have zero intentions of taking it off.
I want this to be a duet. I want to highlight and bring back the positivity. You ready? This is for everybody who became a Muslim or took their journey to Islam. I want you to duet this. I want you to duet this. I want you to tell me, why did you become a Muslim?
Because I like the spirituality behind all of it.
What do you enjoy about being a Muslim?
Friday prayers.
What was the most difficult thing about being a Muslim?
Knowing that after converting I would lose friends and family.
Do you have any words of advice or encouragement for anyone else watching this?
Read the Quran entirely before making the conversion.
Jazakallah kul khair.
I think I can best explain this by explaining why I left Christianity and joined Islam. So in Christianity, you believe that Jesus is God and he's the Messiah and he died for your sins, and through that you are saved. In Islam, there's a sense of accountability. There actually is accountability. You're rewarded for things you do that are good, and you're punished for things you do bad. And that's what I loved about Islam. When I learned that Islam actually holds you accountable for what you do, you don't just believe that someone died for your sins and you're saved. I love that factor in it. And that's why I ended up converting. Because in Christianity, I didn't really feel a sense of accountability. I just believed in something and I was saved. You know, Islam, I felt like I was being rewarded for good and punished for bad. So I felt a sense of accountability. So this is why I ended up converting. You know, it wasn't just like believe in something and you're saved. So, and I stopped believing that Jesus was God. And I
don't believe in God. I don't believe in a creator. I believe that when we die, we go to sleep. And I don't believe in any religion. That's exactly what I thought growing up as a young boy in the city of London. You know, every day on TikTok, I have more than, 7,000 new followers, and everybody's always asking me, tell me your story about how you became a Muslim. So even though I've said it many times before, I'm still going to give you a very short version of how I became a Muslim because so many of you have been asking. So, as I said, I was born in London. I didn't believe in anything growing up, nothing at all. 16 years old, I was at a party with my friend Simon. Simon said to me after he'd been drinking a bit, Simon, a Christian friend, said, don't you think, why are we here? Why have we been created? Just to be like our parents, make money, do business, die, and that's it? There's nothing else? There has to be a reason we're here. Why are we here? I said, Simon, be quiet. This is not something I want to think about. We're at a party. But that question stayed in my mind, well, here, at the back of my mind. And from time to time, I would try to find the answer to that question. I remember I went to the library to do my homework, and I found many books about religion, and I started to look for the answers in those books. I looked at the books of the Christians, the Jews, the Hindus, the Buddhists, everybody. I didn't find anything for me that gave me the answer to the question, why are we here? Why are we alive? Now, in that library, for whatever reason, there was not a single book about Islam. There was nothing at all. So by about 17 years old, I kind of gave up on that question or finding the answer. One day, I heard some people talking about a place in London, Hyde Park. There's a place called Speaker's Corner where you can go and listen to people talk about their religion. I went there. I was about 17 and a half, I think. And I would listen to a Muslim speaking about the Quran, the miracles of the Quran, speaking about the purpose of our creation. I listened to him every Sunday for about 6 months. After 6 months, I hadn't spoken to him until then. After 6 months, I went up to him. I said, please, I want to be a Muslim. Not now, in the future. He said, you want to be a Muslim? I said, I think so, but I need information. He said, let's sit down together. We sat down. We talked for about 2 hours. He answered all my questions. He said to me, do you believe what I've told you today? I said, yeah, I believe it. He said, do you believe it in your heart? I said, 100%. He said, then say it with your tongue. I said, sure, why not? So I said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. He said, today you've become a Muslim.
Did you know that you could get reward for doing things like eating, exercising, and resting? This is so because doing things like eating, exercising, and resting are permissible acts. A permissible act is that which if one does, one will not be rewarded, and if one leaves it out, one will not be sinful. However, if someone has a good intention when doing things like exercising, eating halal food, and resting, one could be rewarded. For example, if someone rests with the intention of being energized to do more acts of worship when they wake up, they will be rewarded for the entire time they sleep. Or if someone exercises with the intention that their body will be physically strong to do more acts of worship, they will be rewarded for their exercise.